What's up, guys? Welcome to our podcast. It's me with the homies, Ilyan Shivji, the guy who moved to the US at the age of 16 and is building a life for himself, followed by Saga Patel, the guy who moved to Canada in 2024 and is working hard to build an amazing life for himself. And today's topic is our routine and the importance of having a routine, etc., etc. And Ilian can kick us off.
Guys, welcome back. Also, since Yash introduced everyone else, so I'm gonna introduce this is Yash Patel.
Well,
Um, he is 24 years old, working in
actuarial
Canada as
analyst.
actuarial analyst. Yeah, making a life for himself in the big world. But jokes aside, but welcome back, episode 6. Like Yash said, we're talking about our day-to-days and how like what the importance of a day-to-day is and having a routine and the importance of that and how it actually factors in our lives. So yeah, so I guess I'll start and my day to day, I work a 9 to 5, the Matrix. I stole that from Saga. Um, working in the Matrix, but yeah, so I work basically instead of a 9 to 5, I work at 8 to 4:30. So it's a little different, I guess. But so I wake up at around 7 o'clock. Um, do the getting ready and everything, get to work at 8, 8 to 4:30. Obviously, you gotta hit a lunch somewhere. And then after 4:30, I work out right after my after work. I come home and what I normally do and what I think has helped me nowadays is I meal prep on Sundays. So I already have food ready for me, like for the week. So I just come home, I heat up my food, eat it, shower, wash my dishes, and I hit the sack. I go to bed and then do that all over again. And the weekends are more like a reset. So the main things that I do on the weekends is if I have to make a grocery run, that's what I do. But I try to, I guess, catch up more on my sleep on the weekends. What
I
about
think
you?
Elian, I think Elian summed up all of our lives abroad in just one routine. But yeah, like as for me, like my routine is a bit different because I work from home 3 days a week. Like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I work from home, and Monday, Tuesday, I go to the office. So my day starts a bit earlier on Monday and Tuesdays. I wake up around at 5 o'clock. I have to leave from like my place to go to another city where I work. So that's like 1.5 hour drive. So I leave home like at 6:30. Uh, on Mondays and Tuesdays, I try to hit the gym as soon as I come back from work because, anyways, I'm like tired. It's like it'll be just get more tired, like and so you can just eat and sleep on those 2 days. Yeah, but apart from that, on the days that I'm at home, I try to wake up at like 7:30. Try to get a class done, a French class done in the morning. Not always. It doesn't always work out because sometimes I oversleep because I'm tired from the previous day. But yeah, that's the difference between my Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to Friday. And the weekends I try to do this podcast. We try to record. Like that's what we've been trying to do like over the last couple of weeks. Um, try to hit the gym and then yeah, grocery run, laundry, and all this fun stuff. I wish I could say I meditate and do skincare, but I don't do any of that. But yeah, trying to build a routines like for my physical body, especially considering like last year when I started working from home, it all got messed up. And I think that's why this topic is very important. Like why it is important to have a routine when you're working like a 9 to 5 or any kind of job, because like if you don't have a routine, like uh, you'll not really take care of yourself. And, just kind of end up eating random stuff during the day. Yeah, Yash can tell us about his routine.
I wake up later, not later. I wake up more late than you guys. So I work a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I go to the office on 2 days or 3 days a week, maybe on Tuesdays and Thursdays or Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I think I'm lucky that my company has a remote policy. So if I don't go to the office for 2 weeks, I won't be questioned or no one will tell me anything. So yeah, when for the days that I go to the office, I wake up at 8, leave home by 8:40, reach in the office by 9. So my office is like 20 minutes away, and it's not too far, so I do my job. After 5, I go to the gym. That's something I'm trying to be consistent about. Definitely, because I work in the insurance industry, I need to also apply my own knowledge to my health. So I started working out by going to the gym. I go to the gym almost 5 days a week, and maybe in the summer it will be 7 days a week. But yeah, anyways, after I come home from the gym, I I have like a food delivered to my house. So it's like a tiffin service. I'm not sure if any of you know what that is, but basically an Indian household prepares food for everyone and they deliver it to whoever pays for it. So I pay for it and I get food delivered to my doorstep 6 days a week. So that way I'm lucky because I don't have to do the dishes. I don't like doing the dishes anyways, so saves me some energy. And on the days I work from home, I wake up 20 minutes before work and I get ready as soon as I can and yeah, finish work at 5, go to the gym, come home and eat, chill, watch TV. Sometimes I'll play like an online poker game or blackjack game. That is something that is fun to do. And yeah, back to whoever wants to take it off.
Elian, I wanted to ask you like meal prep, like I've always wanted to do meal prep, but I've never like done it. So just for the viewers, like what's the advantage of doing meal prep? I don't think a lot of people back home do meal prep or it's a thing back home, but what are some of the advantages of doing meal prep?
So, back home, for example, like my mom would cook every single day. So like the meal prep situation never really um came into my mind until I moved here. And it's only something that I've started trying to do recently. Um, I've been obviously on social media and I see all these like bodybuilders and stuff, and they're like, oh, you need to track your calories and do this and that. And they were like, the good thing about that is you can meal prep on Sundays and then have your food ready to go for the week. That way you're consistently knowing what you're putting in your body. So, basically, let's say if I do come home from work, let's say on a Tuesday, and I'm super tired and I'm lazy and I don't want to cook, I'll just go out and I'll pick up a McDonald's burger, and then just, what I'm saying, just eat it, be done, and then come home and go to bed. So I guess the thing with the meal prep is more or less like you know what you're putting into your body because you've cooked it up and it's ready to go. All you have to do is just heat it up and eat it. I think the difference with not doing it back home is like people don't want to eat the same thing every single day type of thing. And I feel that exhaustion with the food. But I am trying to differentiate my meals. So I'm trying to make different meals for like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I have to meal prep again. So that way I'm not just eating the same food for 5 days. I can have some type of yeah, difference. It
What
saves a lot
different
of time.
meals? What
Say that
different meals have you made?
um I don't want to get into the details, but like my main goal is like Chipotle bowls. I think that's like a great thing for me is because I love Chipotle, so it just makes sense. But yeah, it saves a lot of time. The only thing that I have to do is after I come home and I eat my meal, the only thing I have to do is just wash my dish, and then that's it. So
Elian, how do you have the energy like, to cook all this food like on one day? Like,
like for me, Saturdays are the days that I relax a lot. I basically do nothing on Saturdays, and then Sundays it's more of like I'm doing my laundry, I'm doing my grocery haul, and then when I come home, I just have this energy of like I'm actually starting my week on a Sunday. So
hmm,
that energy helps me like make all my food and stuff because I know the rest of the week all I have to focus on is just work. Work and going to the gym. I don't have to focus on now, oh, what am I gonna cook tonight? Because I've already done all that. Does that make sense?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes it. I
Yeah.
think it
You
would save
know,
us a lot of time. Yeah.
yeah, that's the main issue. Like knowing what to, like deciding what to cook. That takes a lot of time. If you, especially if you have a roommate or you're living with other people, you might suggest one meal, but then someone else says, no, I don't want to eat that. And then you're back to square one, and again you have to decide what do I have to make, what do I have to eat, what will everyone eat. So yeah, I think it's you make meal prepping on Sundays. It's very smart. It saves you a lot of time, and you can do whatever you want after work. Yeah.
Me wrong.
I
Like eating the same food every day, like for 3 days straight, it does get tiring. But a trick that I've learned is I use like different sauces on top of my food, so it gives me a different flavor. And I don't know if that's like a cheat
Yes.
code when it comes to stuff like that, but if if it works, it works. So.
Have you tried frozen food? Like, frozen chicken wings, frozen pizza, and so on.
See, I don't think that's really good with when it comes to the calorie stuff and like what you're putting in your body, the amount of sugars and all that fried stuff, so I'm trying to work on that. I think that's something that I'm trying to do this year. New year, new me. I'm trying to track my calories and make sure I'm eating good. So, yeah.
coming to that point of Yash, like frozen food, like last year, I had a very bad habit of like, eating a lot of frozen food. Like just, coming home, like you're so tired, like, even sometimes when working from home, you're just so lazy just to cook anything, like once you're done with work, especially with a lot of screen time. So like I think that was a really bad habit, like in this household, even I think Yash knows that. Like we used to eat a lot of frozen, like just randomly just wake up and do like frozen samosas for dinner. I think that played a big role in me trying to shift and to making food every day, or like food at least once every 2 days. At least I'm eating fresh, I'm eating healthy, and then try to go to the gym. I'm not very consistent with it yet, but yeah.
Sergey, Sagar, since you said you cook from home and stuff like that, because I know Yash doesn't do that. Don't you think you have time because you're working from home that you can like prep at a different time and then cook once you're on like a little break? Do you think
Yeah,
it's easier because you're working remote when it comes to that?
it is easier, but again it depends on the day, right? Like
Of course, yeah.
sometimes you're busy like from 8 to 4 and you don't have any time to even get up from your chair. I think that's one reason like we try to cook after work, but like most of the other days, like on sometimes on Friday I'm not doing anything, like after like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock I'm just free, and like the workload is much less. So you can decide to like prep for the evening. Yeah.
The biggest thing that, like, because we all work 9 to 5 jobs, and it's a desk job, so we're seated on our chair all day. One thing I've been doing this year is trying to move every hour. Like I said to him, when I'm in the office, I cannot sit on a chair for 2 hours straight. Every hour or every 45 minutes, I go out and take a walk. Because I feel like movement is so important nowadays. Because if you're seated behind a desk at work and then you come home and then you're also seated, there's no movement in your body. So I think that it it's like, speaking long term, it has a negative effect on your health and
Mm.
even your development. So last year I used to do that a lot. Like I'm guilty of that, but then this year I decided that I will try to get in as much movement as possible, and that's why I started going to the gym. Because I walk to the gym, and I come back home walking, and I'm just trying to hit almost 6,000 steps per day. And sometimes I don't feel like doing it. The days I don't feel like walking, I just run around my neighborhood. And I think that is something that I would also encourage other people who work remote jobs, like desk jobs, to do, because it's so important to stay healthy.
Yeah, I think I concur with what you just said, because if you don't move, you're cooked. Like in a remote job and a desk job, it's so much easier to gain weight when you're working from home. Like I'm guilty of that. Like last year,
How
it
much have you
was
gained?
I've gained a lot of weight. Like let's not get into details. Not
Talking about
not
that.
that much, not that much, but I put on a bit of pounds last year, and I hate myself. I hate myself for it because now losing it is takes twice the extra effort, you know. So, but yeah, like at least I've started trying, and now I'm moving again. So I think that's the good part. But what you mentioned, like getting movement in, I think you know, like there are these influencers that say, "Oh, get 10,000 steps in every single day." I know it's difficult, but I think all of us should just attempt, you know, or try. Just go for a walk, go to a supermarket to buy milk and, you know, walk around and come back. I know in Canada maybe it's a bit difficult with the snow and, you know, like -20 outside. But yeah, still, I think we should all try walking around.
I don't know if you guys want to do this, obviously, but nowadays with all these technology and stuff, you can get walking pads and put it in the house and just have like a walking treadmill. You know, have you
I've
not
seen
seen
those.
those?
I've seen them. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen,
it's
but
pretty cool.
yeah, is it
And
too expensive? Will it break my bank or?
no, I think it's like I think I think my coworker actually got one for like
Yeah.
$100, so it's not too crazy. Especially when it comes to health. I don't think it's not
It's not
worth
it's not it's
Yeah.
not too crazy for an actuarial analyst, you know, so
it.
People have like standing desks if you've seen
That
those
is
ones. Yeah,
cool.
that is also a good
Yeah.
idea so that you're not
mm,
seated all day and you
Yeah.
get in some movement. Yeah.
yeah, the negative effects of just sitting and eating is it really messes you up. Not just physically, you know, like you just feel lazy, you feel tired all the time, you know, feel like not doing anything. Just eating and sleeping is not always good for your health. Yeah. And it shows, you know, it shows on you, like when you go out, it shows that you're tired. Yeah.
Like, most of us are trying to stay active, and I'm sure that our viewers are also trying to stay healthy, stay in shape, and it's hard to do it on a consistent basis. There is this aspect of motivation versus discipline. Some
Mm.
days you might feel like going, some days you might not feel like going. What do you guys think about that?
Oh, trust me, bro, that's a very like not controversial, but
Everything is controversial to you.
debatable.
I
I don't see. Please explain how it's debatable to me.
I don't think it's controversial at all.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a controversial
that's
topic
not
at
a
all. I think it's
controversial
just
topic.
I think it's just different opinions to it.
That what is debating then?
But
Controversial
it
is like it's a hot take. Like you cannot say some things out in public. That is something controversial. Something
Okay,
that that
maybe
might
better
lead
choice.
to serious
Yeah,
fights. Yeah.
maybe better choice of words, maybe debatable or different opinions,
Yeah.
maybe.
I think that's a lot better because to me, whenever you said motivation versus discipline, there's a phrase or I guess you could say a quote that I'm trying to use this year, and it's pretty tough so far, but I'm gonna keep telling myself it's discipline over dopamine.
Wow.
Oh wow,
I
bro,
like
I
that.
love that.
Dude, I
I love
think
that.
yeah, I think that's a really good a thing to like keep in your mind. But yeah, like some people talk about having motivation. Like if they don't have motivation, they're not gonna go to the gym because they're tired. Or they're stuff like that. I feel like if it's now kind of like work. You're not motivated to go to work. You have to go to work. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Especially if you're trying to make money or whatever. I think you should put in like going to the gym kind of in that same category and then have it where you need to go to the gym, so that way it's not just I don't feel like going to the gym, because if you don't feel like going to work, you don't just call in sick, you know what I'm saying? Like you still go to work even if you feel that way, And then try it in a way like if let's say you don't feel like going to the gym, just go to the gym and I can bet I'll bet $1 that after you finish working out, you'll actually feel better about yourself. You're like,
mm,
dang, like at least I did come to the gym and at least I was active. At least I was productive. I would have just been sitting at home, scrolling on my phone. So I think
mm.
having that discipline is a lot better than having or needing motivation to do things. And it's something that I'm trying to um put in my head for like all these other things that I get lazy about. I need to try and tell myself, and I'm working on it, is to tell myself like it's all part of having discipline, and I feel like that's where having a routine, I think it helps a lot with that.
You know. you just said something like, I want to put it in my own words, like it's okay until it's not, like, so basically I was telling myself it's okay, like I'll not get fat, I'll not get fat. But until a point comes where you're just, looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, you can't be looking like that, like at 25, like, you can't be having a stomach at 25. So I think it's okay not to go to the gym until you reach your saturation point, like, maybe that's a wake up call. And I think a lot of people get this wake up calls when it's like at a very extreme, like where you're like, oh, now I really need to hit the gym. So I think we should not let it get to that point. And I think I'm trying to do that as well. I'm trying to implement that for not just the gym. I think for a lot of different things that we keep procrastinating in life, like, well, I want to do this, I want to give this exam, and I want to do this thing. And we always keep talking about it, but not eventually doing it. So I think just having a routine really helps you with not just going to the gym, but with a lot of other aspects in life as well.
Yeah, whenever you have a routine and let's say you're having a bad day at work, you know that you're going to the gym after work, so you're looking
Mm.
forward to it, and that helps you get over what you're facing right now. You might be like work may be a bit busy for you, and or you might have all this stress building up, but then you're going to the gym, and that makes you feel better because you're going to let all the stress out and gain some muscle, hit the gym. So yeah, that's why I think having a routine helps, because your day is kind of planned and you know what needs to get done. But then sometimes I feel like it's not okay. Like it's okay to not have a plan every single day. Some days you can be spontaneous and be like, yeah, I'll just go today. I'll go out and I'll go to this restaurant and then I'll see what I want to do afterwards. So that's what I try to do. I'm trying to do. I I have challenged the boys that we need to do something. Each of us needs to do something spontaneous in the month of March, and each of us will post what the spontaneous thing we did on Instagram. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's what I was trying to get across.
There's that. Yeah, go ahead, Ilian.
Ladies
There's
first,
that.
Saga.
There's that quote I think Kushbu told us last time. Like, don't let your schedule run you. You should run your schedule. I think that really uh, plays a part in this conversation of a routine. So like, you should be in control of your schedule. It will not always be the case. There'll be some days, you'll be running late. You'll not be able to do a lot of things, and that's just part of life. But I think it should not, what is it called, get to a point where you're getting away from your routine. But yeah, I think you should always be wary of your time, and where you should be putting in the efforts every day.
It's also something that she mentioned on our last episode. She said it's what you do after 5 o'clock. We
Mm.
all work
Yeah.
9 to 5, so how do you use your time after 5 o'clock? I think that's really a good thing. When she said that, it opened my eyes. Like, really, what do I do after 5 o'clock? Okay, I go to the gym, I come back, I tell myself I don't have time, but theoretically, I go to sleep at 11 o'clock. That's like 6 hours
6 hours.
after 5 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing for 6 hours? And then if I really
sending
look at it, I'm
sending
sending
reels.
reels. You know what I'm saying? I'm on Instagram scrolling. That's already an hour and a half, and then an hour when I'm on the bed scrolling as well before I go to bed. So I think just looking and reflecting on what do you do after 5 o'clock and actually using your time wisely, I think you'll really save you a lot of time if you
Exactly,
think
I love
about
that.
it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. Yeah.
You just mentioned about, like, we say we don't have a lot of time, and still we end up spending so much time on Instagram sending reels for like 1 hour or 2 hours. And I think that's what the quote meant. Like, you should run your schedule and not let your schedule run you. And yeah, I love what you just said. Everything is about that is true. And I'm not saying that we all have perfect routines. We all are guilty of sending reels to each other for like 2 hours, and that's okay sometimes. But I think this question of what do you do after your day job, like, is a question everyone should ask themselves, because I think we all have the same 24 hours a day, and how we divide that is totally upon us. And I think we can get a lot of stuff done. Yeah. And that applies to three of us as well.
to that 10 minutes that you can spare, you can text your friends from back home, catch up with
I
them.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I'm not trying to start something. But yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that the take on routine is quite, yeah.
I think
Six
there's like,
hours after work. Elian, you can go ahead.
no, I was just saying, do you think there's like a negative thing when it comes to trying to put yourself on a to-do list, like to plan your whole day? You think there's like a negative effect to that? You think there's something that people are like, oh no, I don't think that works because blah blah blah. Like, what's one of the things you could come up with?
I think trying
I
to do a lot
think,
of things
yeah.
at once, like trying to do a lot of things at once. I think I'm very guilty of that as well. Like there was a time I was trying to do like classes like late at 11 o'clock, trying to do the podcast, trying to go to the gym, doing a 9 to 5, still trying to wake up at 7. And I think I burnt out like in 2 weeks. So that's why we did not upload an episode last week. I think that's totally up to me. But yeah, I think that is the one of the disadvantages of trying to, do a lot of things get done in a day and trying to maintain a routine. Yeah. Yes, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Those are good points. I feel like you should always have a plan, like a to-do list of your day, and but then once in a while you need to switch it up, because if you keep doing the same thing for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you will feel like you're stuck. You'll be like, it sucks the joy out of life, because you're just following a list and you're not doing anything that can bring you joy. If the list has a few things that can bring you joy, then sure, that's fine. But then I think once in a while, trying to be, as I've said again, trying to be spontaneous and just going with the flow, it helps you stay recharged, and you get the energy to tackle the new week ahead. So that's what I am trying to do. Every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I try to do something new, and makes makes me feel better.
Side quests in life, right?
Side quests, yes. So
Mm,
There's
side quest in
something
life.
there's something that I heard. You know how everyone, I'm guilty of this as well. A new year comes in. We start with a new year, new me. It's 2026. This is my year. This is our year, okay? But jokes aside, there's something that I seen. You know how some people, I'm the same way. I also did this, I'd say in 2025. I set up myself with so many goals that I want to do in 2025. Like I want to read 5 books, for example. I want to do this, I want to do that. I read something and it says instead of setting yourself up with all these things to do, you should set yourself up with only 3 things to do the whole year. Like 3 new things or 3 new hobbies or 3 new habits that you want to do in the whole year. And just focus on only three. He said, or the person that was talking about, he said, if you have all these to-do lists, you start tackling all these other ones, and then you just like you get lost on where you're at. If you only set yourself with, let's say, 3 things, for example, you can set aside the right amount of time to focus on each um habit or hobby. So I feel like that's also something um to think about when it comes to like managing your time.
yeah, you're right. If you have 10 things to do on your list or 10 goals to achieve, you will not achieve all 10 of them. And you will spread your effort and time around those 10 goals, and you won't even achieve half of the goals on that list. So that is something that I read about. And for this year, I only set myself 3 goals. That's it. I didn't want to set more than 3 goals, because it feels like it's not efficient. If I can focus on achieving 3 goals, 3 big goals, and not just small goals, that is more important than achieving 8 smaller goals. That's what I feel like.
True, bro.
You basically explained that a lot better than me, so thank you for
I don't
that.
think
I'm
so.
glad I'm glad you're on the same thought process. I'm glad you've heard the same thing as well. So that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. because like writing down a lot of stuff, you try to do a lot of things at the same time, and then eventually you don't give 100% in any of those things. So I think it's better to set not smaller goals but less goals, but which are smart, the way they taught us in in school. I don't know if that
Business
philosophy
class,
works.
eh?
Yeah, like smart goals, set smart goals, so like you can hold yourself accountable at the end of the year. And I think a lot of us are guilty of not of as you mentioned, setting a goal on 1st January and being back at square one on 31st December. And I think this is one of the reason why, because our goals change so fast and so quickly during the year, where then you eventually forget about what you wrote, and then at the end of the year you're questioning, oh, how did the year pass by and I did not achieve what I wanted to. So yeah.
I think one great way to stay in touch is every every month you check what you wrote on like you check the goals you wrote on January 1st, and you basically remind yourself that this is what I wanted to do on January 1st. So that helps you stay on track, and sometimes goals can change like you said, and that's okay because there are a lot of moving factors, like moving variables out there that may affect your life, like your situation might change and therefore you might need to adjust. But yeah, that is what I try to do. Every month I check the goals that I wrote and I try to stay on track.
Mm. What do you
Awesome.
think is the importance of writing those goals down?
Said, like you said, you forget about these things later on because you start thinking about new goals, new things, like I feel like also if you're on social media scrolling and stuff, you see other people doing something, so now it's part of like, okay, this is also something that I would like to do as well. So here you are adding stuff, but you've already forgotten on your main goal that you actually wrote for yourself or thought for yourself. But if you write it down, you can go back and look at it. So I think that's really pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like those out of sight, out of mind, like sometimes like on the
Oh,
like when it comes to food, I will forget there's food in certain cabinets and I will not remember because I don't see it. So it's one of those things like with your goals, if you write them down, you at least remember what you need to achieve.
Wait,
Yash
so
casually dropping quotes.
yeah. So when you said out of sight, out of mind, have y'all ever gone grocery shopping and not made a list and then bought the same thing that you have in your cabinet, but you did not know it was in the cabinet because you didn't look? Dude,
And then and not buying the things you actually need. So
yes, oh my God,
Yeah, that
bro. Holy
happens so
shit.
often.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, it's
know,
crazy.
that I would like this opposite my gym, there's a grocery store, and after the gym, like this was a few days ago, I was like, I will go to the grocery store and buy fruits. I went to the store, I bought fruits, I bought cakes, I bought crepes, I bought so many snacks, but I only went in wanting to buy fruits, but I bought so much things that I didn't need.
impulsive behavior,
Yeah.
impulsive behavior. But yeah, I think that was a short and sweet conversation for our viewers. But I think if we were to leave you with questions, maybe the first question is like maybe just think, what do you do after your day job? Maybe like just critically think about it or just give it a thought. And maybe put in the comment section what is your way or what is your routine, and what different things do you do to stay in shape, especially since we've talked a lot about going to the gym. Maybe we can take some pointers from there as well. And yeah, the boys can say whatever they want before we end.
I think you summed it up pretty well. Um, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
Yes.
thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you learned something about our routines and share in the comments what you do after work and anything, any habits that you have that help you stay in shape or stay active. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
That's right. That is right.
Yeah.